Today, we're going to look at conditional logic within a Docubee workflow. There are 3 different types of conditional logic that you can utilize through a workflow: conditional fields, logic branches, and action buttons. On web forms, we can conditionally show fields based off of a response. For instance, if we have a yes or no question like, do you have a quote? And a user chooses yes, we could display an additional field based on this answer, like this upload quote box. To set up a conditional field, select the field and navigate to the right where it says Always Show Field or Conditionally Show Field. If you click on Manage Conditions, you can access any properties from the fields you already created and utilize them for the conditions. As long as this condition equals the value of yes, this box will appear. Logic branches are the second type of conditional logic tool in Docubee. You can add as many conditional logic branches as you'd like. When the workflow advances to this step, we can route someone down a different branch based on a value that we've gathered from a web form. In this example, we have a quote that we're sending to a customer and want to be able to route to a different process based on the amount of that quote. If the quote is $10,000 or greater, we want to push the quote to the CEO first so that they can approve it. If it's between $10,000 and $5,000, we'll send it to the manager for approval. Finally, if the quote is less than $5,000, we can send it directly to the customer without approval. To do that on our web form, we have this field called Estimated Agreement Cost, and the value that is entered here is what we're using to determine what branch to use. For the $10,000 or greater branch, we're going to base that condition off of property Estimated Agreement Cost. In this case, if the amount entered is greater than or equal to $10,000, it will route them down that branch. For the branch that is amounts between $10,000 and $5,000, we have to add 2 conditions. One for when the entered amount is greater than $5,000, and one for when it is less than $10,000. So anything entered between those 2 numbers will push down this branch. Our last branch is called the default branch. We don't have to set any permissions or any conditions for this branch because the system will route anything that does not meet any of the previously configured conditions down this branch. The third type of conditional logic that you can utilize in workflows is conditional action buttons. Further down our $10,000 or greater branch, we see the quote will go to the CEO to fill and sign. We want the CEO to be able to approve and continue down the workflow or deny the quote and cancel the workflow. On this fill and sign task, on the right, there's a section called Action Buttons where we can add additional buttons. We'll add a button here so that you're able to label with whatever text you'd like. When we move back out to the workflow, you'll see now that we have another branch called Label This, because any buttons that we add will create a new logic branch. Now you can see if the CEO approves the quote, it continues on to the manager for approval, and then it goes on to the customer. Want more information on automating contracts using conditional logic? Talk to a Docubee team member or visit www.docubee.com to learn more.